What's going on, guys? Nerdlocker.com with this week's comic book reviews, and I'm starting it off with Batman number 18. We got more Harper Row, which is awesome. I love her. I love this character, and this book really kind of shows, I guess, what she's going to be about, what we might see more of with her. We get a lot of her history with her parents and sort of why she's in the situation she's in with her brother, and sort of how Batman has been looking out for her, even though he, said, don't get involved with me and don't get involved in my life and everything that's going on. She can tell he's hurting from something. She doesn't know what, but she can tell he has a lot of pain right now. And we know that's carrying over from Batman Incorporated. And this was just a very well done issue. I like this relationship. I'm happy to see her, and I can't wait to see what else is going to come along with that. I feel like there's something huge set up with this character, and I really can't wait to see the payoff for it. So I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Let me know what you guys thought.
Hey there, guys. Cubby here with my comic reviews for this week. I got to read a lot of really good Marvel books this week. So to start off, I'm going to go with Wolverine number 1. This was actually something I was kind of dreading. It's cool to have a new artist and writer on a book, but I hate when a company puts a number 1 out after we've already had a million number 1s. I mean, I have like 3 Wolverine number 1s from certain incarnations, and yeah, it's cool to have that, but I just don't get why they do it. Anyways, it's the whole Marvel Now thing, so it doesn't make sense to me still, but this was a really awesome story, and it had a really, really great classic feel to it. Ellen Davis, of course, knocks it out of the park. If you don't like his artwork, you don't know what good artwork is. I'm sorry. I know it looks a little dated sometimes, but it's really good. It's really awesome. And at times I did kind of wish it looked a little cleaner, a little nicer, but it still has a really good feel to the book. And there's scenes where Wolverine's getting parts of his body like melted off. And yeah, it would have been cool to have like a Steve McNiven or someone really like lifelike draw that, but having someone to kind of make you imagine it yourself helps with the story. So artwork is great in this book. The story was a little weird, but it turns out really good in the end. And it's only a 4-issue story arc, which is cool because it's going to go by quick. It's going to go by fast. It's going to be a really entertaining read from what I can see so far. So I'm going to give it 4.5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey guys, I got to read Fantastic Four number 5 this week, and while I have found this series to be really good so far, this issue was a little bit underwhelming. They go back in time and they encounter Julius Caesar, which is kind of, what I did enjoy about it was that it was almost reminiscent of Doctor Who in that way, but I didn't feel that there was enough that contributes to the story as a whole. I just felt like this issue almost kind of stands alone. The last page, I mean, you definitely have to read this issue because the last page suggests that, this story is going to have some impact on the future. However, I just wasn't as big of a fan of this book, so I'm going to give it 3 Nerd Skulls.
Hey there, nerds. Jim here with my reviews this week. First up, I have Star Wars number 3. I'm a little wishy-washy on this. I really enjoyed the first one. Really enjoyed how they came back into this world and reintroduced us to characters that we know really well. Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, C-3PO, R2-D2, and to a lesser extent, Mon Mothma, the Emperor, even Darth Vader. But this one is a pickup from 2, but it's still not hitting the levels I really want it to. We have Darth Vader, who is basically being ostracized by the Emperor, which is really weird because Darth Vader's really, really powerful, and he's basically being like a dog hit with the newspaper. Go, you failed me with the Death Star. Okay, fair enough, but he's super powerful. By doing that, though, we take him out of the story. Now, the good news of that is we've introduced Colonel Bircher, who is basically trying to take all power away from Darth Vader. So it's really cool how he's becoming really powerful, and as far as we know so far, he doesn't really have powers or anything like that, just basically being political. I do like that. Now, we also have this really weird relationship because we know the end story. We know Luke and Leia are brother and sister, but we see this really weird relationship of jealousy because there's another girl, Pilot Prithee, who's flirting with Luke. So Leia is getting a little jealous, and it's weird. I gotta be honest, it's weird. But it's also interesting because we finally see Leia kind of deal with the stress of seeing her planet destroyed, going on her interrogation on the Death Star, and she goes basically one-on-one with Wedge, piloting an X-Wing. So that's kind of cool, just to let off some steam. I do like that. The story's cool. I do like these characters. Han and Chewie get into more trouble, which is always fun because we know they get out of it, so that's always interesting. I like how they're trying to find out who the rat is within the rebellion. I like that. I like where it's going. I want to see more. I just want it to go up that step. So although I did enjoy it, I do want to go up there. I'm only going to give it 3.5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read Batman and Robin 18, and this issue killed me. It's a completely silent issue. There's no dialogue in the entire book, but it's just Batman sort of dealing with the loss of his son Damian and his, Robin, his sidekick, and it's really, it really gets to you. I think the thing I liked most about this issue is kind of seeing like the Batman we're gonna see from, for the next couple years or whatever direction they kind of take. I mean, this is a big attitude change for the character. This is a big part of who he was, and I'm really excited to see what happens to Bruce Wayne, what happens to Batman in the future, and how this plays into the character that we've been reading. So definitely pick this up. I'm giving this 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
So I got to read Manhattan Projects number 10 today, and this book made a little more sense. The last couple times I've read it, it's kind of just been all over the place, character building, story building, things going crazy. There has been some crazy moments. Yes, definitely. But this one, it started to explain things a little more. At least what's going on, it explained it really well. Like, it was really thought out. At least for me, it was the clearest issue of the story so far. What was really awesome is just kind of seeing how the one character was just kind of breaking down this other dude's mind and how he was trapped in it. And it's crazy. Read it to understand it. But the artwork was awesome in it. It's like a dreamscape landscape. It goes all over the place. There's like twisty walkways and elephants and sumo wrestlers fighting that are the size of mountains and stuff like that. It's really, really awesome. So check it out. Manhattan Projects is just another great Jonathan Hickman book. I cannot wait to read the next issue on this one as well. So I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey guys, I got to read Batgirl number 18, and I'm very happy to say that even though Gail Simone wasn't on it, it was still a great issue. I will give you a little warning though, if you're one of those people who's just trying to follow the Requiem story arc, there really isn't a lot that has to do with Damian in it. They just kind of mentioned, oh hey, by the way, he died, and they just move on right past it. So if you're looking for that, I would suggest don't pick this book up. Unless you just want to read Batgirl. And if that is the case, then this is definitely a good issue. I thought it was really interesting that the whole thing was told from James's point of view, and I really like this brother-sister dynamic that's going on. So it was just really awesome to read this whole comic book from someone else's perspective. So I'm going to give this book 4.5 Nerd Skulls.
So I also got to read Archer and Armstrong number 8. If you've watched any of our reviews, you know I really, really like this series. I like how they go back in history and show us historical events, historical fiction obviously, of Jalad and Armstrong and how they've gone through history because they're basically immortals. This one opens up in Persia, present-day Iran, with Jalad basically trying to save another genius who the Null are trying to force to get him to do what they want. And this time they got what they needed. Go to present day, and it's kind of funny. This is what I really like about this book. Archer, close up, is talking about how he's lost his way. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do because he was raised basically to destroy Armstrong, and now that they're friends, he doesn't know what to do. Cut to, they're in a golf cart speeding away from these guys that are trying to kill him, and Armstrong's like, hey, dude, that's awesome, but hey, we're going to be killed here, so why don't you take that, bring that up another time. And I love that humor. I really do. I have no idea, though, why the new Geomancer and Jalad are running while they were in a golf cart. I kind of found that funny, too. But we basically are revealed that there's more than one bad guy or bad organization. We still have the Null, which are going forward with their plans. We have the 1%, which we kind of thought they were together, but now they're not. And then the 1% reveal there's more. And things are going pretty bad. It's like the whole world is against them. Maria's back, and she's a badass, and it looks like she's going to take everything on, And at the end, Archer finds what he's supposed to be doing, and it's not good. So once again, I love this book. Highly recommend it. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
I got a chance to read Green Lantern Corps number 18. Now, these Wrath of the First Lantern tie-ins are a little odd to me just because it seems that First Lantern is basically picking on the side characters. You know, Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, or not side characters, but the other Lanterns. He's picking them apart and showing their histories and sort of toying with things that could have been different to make it worse or better and just getting all the emotion he can from the different Lanterns, which is cool because you are getting a lot of backstory. Like, you get to see all of John Stewart's story in this, and you don't really realize how much he's been through. So that was really cool to see. But I don't know. I was expecting more out of these tie-ins, and it just looks like we're kind of going through the histories of these characters, and that's it. So, I don't know. It's good. It's not incredible, though. I want a lot more out of it. Like, the Green Lantern title is the one that you're actually getting more of the story from, and that's what I was expecting to see with these tie-ins. But either way, I mean, obviously, I'm going to keep picking them up because I've always read the Green Lantern Corps books, so I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. I'm just hoping the next one, a little bit more action.
All right, so I also got to read Thor God of Thunder number 6 today, and I thought this was going to be the last big blowout fight between the God Butcher and Thor, and it isn't. But it's actually really cool because it's the story of the God Butcher, Gore, or whatever his name is. I think it's Gore. It's so hard to remember nowadays. Anyways, it's a really, really awesome story because it seems very similar to like Saint Walker's story, if you're familiar with the Green Lantern Corps and what they did with that, or the Blue Lantern Corps, I should say, and what they did with that, how they explained the story where he goes through all these hardships, all these struggles, but at the end of the day, he still has his faith in God, in something, just he has faith. And this, it's pretty much Gore is going through all these trials and tribulations in his life, and everyone keeps telling him, have faith, and slowly but surely it degrades, and you see him do some crazy stuff. And it's not like, oh my God, it's crazy like the last couple issues have been, but it still makes sense for the character. A lot of character development happens in this, and every bit of it is really, really awesome. The artwork in this book is actually really, really cool too. It just fits. Yeah, I love when a book and artwork, the story, everything just comes together. This is one of those examples. And the next issue, oh man, I can't wait. So I'm giving this 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. It totally earned it and totally deserves it. Read this book, and if you're not reading it right now, you're really messing up.
Hey guys, I got to read Emily and the Strangers number 2, and this book is continuing to just be really awesome and fun. This story is more about Emily now that she's stuck with this Evan guy. They're trying to assemble their band, so they're slowly bringing in the members and trying to make the whole band work together and sound like a band. And of course, there's going to be tension and problems, and it's just a lot of fun. And I'm still really enjoying the fact that Emily is in color. I think it's really awesome, and it's really makes the book more vibrant. So I'm gonna give this book 4.5 Nerd Skulls.
I got to read Rocketeer number 2 this week, and this is first off, it's awesome that we're getting Rocketeer comics again, because as a kid, I loved that movie, I loved reading the books, and it's cool to see this come out again. And these are just fun stories. This one, this issue, we really get the villain, and we really get to see the direction that some of the characters are going in with this story and how it's playing into the big plot of everything. The ending's really cool. I don't want to give anything away. Keep this spoiler free. But it kind of cool, and I want to see the next issue because it looks like we're getting a different Rocketeer. We're getting the Rocketeer without something that he usually has. So I'm excited to see how this next issue plays out and what he has to do to get it back. So I'm going to give this 4 to 5 Nerd Skulls. Let me know what you thought.
All right, guys, so I got to read Age of Ultron number 2, and while I love the first issue, this issue was really, really awesome as well. It was not nearly as good as the first one, just because it just threw you in there. It threw you into this world, and it was ridiculous, and Hawkeye's killing people, and it's crazy. There's just as much craziness going on, but you're getting a little more info on what happened. You're kind of seeing like this certain group of heroes kind of picking up the pieces a little bit. They're getting in that shape of it, and like in that form, and then finally at the end, someone who I never thought I'd see in a certain way kind of like steps up to the plate, and there's a huge page at the end. It's just kind of like, whoa, what happened? What's going to happen? What's going on? I want to know. I want to know now. I don't know how often this book is going to come out, but being that the other one didn't come out too long ago, I really hope this like goes through quick, because it's an awesome, awesome, awesome Brian Michael Bendis book. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. I hope it keeps this momentum going. Read it, everyone.
All right, I read Peter Panzerfaust number 10 this week, and I love this book. This is just an awesome story, and I love Peter Pan, the movie. I love that whole story, and the awesome thing about this book is just the way that all of the characters are getting tied into this retelling during World War II. I mean, honestly, every time I read this and I see somebody again or for the first time, it's cool because I just love the way they're all being utilized. And we're using all the characters here. I mean, everybody is in here to a certain extent and used just in a certain way that I love. And you know, I love World War II. I love learning about World War II. And this is an awesome book. I definitely suggest reading this if you haven't. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.